Hey, check this out. If you're in accounting or finance and you've got a long month-end close process, you can really speed that up with CloudExtend. Here, I'm going to show you how you can take a month-end credit card statement and actually convert that to a journal entry. Once you've got everything set up, this can be done in about 30 seconds. Here's your credit card statement that you've downloaded from American Express. Here's the CloudExtend journal entry template that you've set up, and you've got formulas that are going to help populate each of the lines that you need to. Just take your credit card statement, paste it here, come back to CloudExtend, and that's it. There's your journal entry ready to upload. And from there, you open CloudExtend, click on Update, and then upsert this selected record. And in just a few seconds, you're going to create this as a journal entry inside of NetSuite. And there's that internal ID we just saw, 120920. So here we can validate that journal entry. Let's dive in and I'll show you how this is done. We typically recommend that customers create a template for transactions such as these. Templates are reusable Excel files. So anyone can now come in and just choose File New, select the template they want to use, and it'll open up the template that someone had saved as an Excel workbook. Let's first take a look at the Excel template that I've created for journal entries, and then we'll go and we'll do File New, and we'll actually go through a demonstration of uploading a journal entry. So let's first take a look at this template. So the first thing we see here is a list of instructions, and I find this useful on almost any template. We'll follow these 6 steps as we go through the demonstration. I also want to explain some of the other fields that are on here. So vendor list download, this is a list of vendors that comes from NetSuite. So this can be brought in either when you're using the workbook, or if someone's managing the template, then they can update this as often as they want to. So if I'm managing this template, I can just come in here, click inside of this table, and then choose download. It's now going to bring in a list of all the vendors from NetSuite. And then with something similar for GL accounts, if you want to bring in a list of all the GL accounts, if there's any new ones, you can. If there's not, then just leave it alone. No worries there. Now, typically, you'll also find that there's a need to add new vendors. So as you see new merchants come through on your Amex statement or your credit card statements, you'll want to create those in NetSuite. Maybe not for all of them. If there's someone that you're okay just mapping to a GL account, that's fine. If you want to create a new vendor, my template makes that really easy because someone can put in the company name, a couple of other fields. You can add other things like address, etc. And so you can quickly push that vendor back up to NetSuite. And then finally, we have a lookup table. So this doing business as, this is a list of fields that will come from the credit card statement. So that is this field right here, doing business as for Amex. So as you accumulate these, it's going to make your future credit card upload much easier because we can use formulas to now pull in the proper accounts. And that's what this lookup table is doing. So anytime there's something that comes with Amtrak as the doing business as, it chooses freight expense and it chooses Amtrak as the vendor. So you'll see that in action in just a few minutes. And then finally, this is the journal entry template. And there's some formulas in here. And I'm going to go through these formulas in a little more depth as we start building the final upload. But I'm going to quickly click through so you can see these formulas where they're used here. They're all really just some XLOOKUP formulas. And they're all referring back to this tab number 2 here, which is where we're going to paste the credit card details from the latest credit card statement. Okay, so enough with the explanation of the template. Let's go ahead and do this for real. So I'm going to choose File and then New from Template. And I'm going to use the credit card transaction template that we were just working on. Okay, so if I'm somebody new, I'll want to come back and look at these instructions and we'll follow these. So the first thing we want to do is download the latest credit card statement and load it into the credit card statement tab. So for that, you'll go out to American Express and you'll choose Download Your Statement as Excel. And then you'll paste that into this particular tab. So this is your credit card statement. That's like a 30-second process, right? Now, what I need to do, because I'm using this as a source for lookup fields for the journal entry, is I need to take the data from here. And I'm going to copy this data. And I'm going to put it right here. So now when I paste this data, this is where some of the magic starts to happen and the formulas really shine. And now I'm going to come back to that same journal entry we were just looking at. Before, we already knew the credit card type was American Express. And here we're looking at the GL account. And the important piece is this internal ID. So this is being pulled in from the lookup table. So if we come in here, let's just say software 151 and Netflix. So let's go ahead and take a look at that and go to this table. So here I can see that Netflix is the GL internal ID 151. That's great. However, I also want to have Netflix as an entity, as a vendor. So I can see here that it's actually missing. So this is where this new vendor upload comes in really handy. So I'm going to load CloudExtend here. And I'm going to just push up a new entity named Netflix. And again, for demo purposes, only a few fields here. But let's go ahead and click on Update. And in just a second or so, this is going to create that new vendor. So I don't have to go back out to NetSuite to do this. Everything's happening inside of Excel here. I've got the new internal ID that's returned in green. So I know that worked. Now I need to go back to my vendor list. I'm just going to click on Download. And now we're going to get an updated list of vendors that includes Netflix. And here I'm just going to put in the name Netflix. And that's going to automatically, based on the formula that is pointing back to the list of vendors, it's going to give me the internal ID here as well. And that internal ID is kind of key. It just makes the upload process a lot faster. So that's 28979, and we can see that's the ID that was returned here. That's actually coming from this list here. So let's sort this in ascending order. So here's the list of new vendors, and now we're showing Netflix as well. So that's how we can get a new entity in there, so we can track expenses versus entities. You can insert any other fields that you need to. You can have classifications, etc. Also, this is a formula that is just summing up all of the debits. So you can just come through and do your own summation. You don't necessarily need to have a formula for that. And this first row up here, I had previously left empty. Because it's not coming from the credit cards. It's one that does require a manual entry just to get that total in there. And then I do put in the entity American Express, so we can actually track this against American Express. So we can look at the Amex vendor record inside of NetSuite and see all of the transactions for American Express. So at this point, we're really ready to go ahead and do an upsert. But there's one thing that I want to point out. So if you look down here, you can see under the debit column, there is a negative 1380. And that's one of the nice things about CloudExtend is that we allow you to put a negative value inside of a debit column. You can't do that inside of a native NetSuite journal entry. And you will see when this journal entry actually gets uploaded, this will come over as a $13.80 credit. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and upload this journal entry. I'll click on Update. Upsert selected records, and we should get an internal ID populating here. That's the same internal ID all the way down, so I know it's created one journal entry. It's in green, so I know that it was successfully created. So let's flip over to NetSuite, and let's take a look at that journal entry. I'm going to go ahead and refresh here. This is sorted by internal ID in descending order. So that newest one, dated April 29th, should be right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So here's that journal entry created with the proper GL accounts. We also have the entity names here whenever possible. So let's go ahead and open up the American Express. As we take a look at this vendor and go to the Transactions tab, here you can see a list of transactions for American Express. And if we came in and let's just take a look at some other ones. So if we wanted to go into, say, Amtrak, we can now go into the Amtrak vendor record and we'll see the journal entry posted for this particular credit card transaction. So here's that journal entry right here. You know what? I forgot to show this $13.80 as a credit. So let's quickly flip back here. And let's go down and look for credit. So there it is, a $13.80 credit that was previously a negative $13.80 debit. So I think that's pretty cool, and I'd like to show that. Okay, so I mentioned that you can make changes to a journal entry. So let's just say I needed to reclassify this miscellaneous expense for Amazon. I didn't want them to be miscellaneous anymore. So I can click here and I can see a list of all the possible GL accounts. So in this case, let's just say we want this to be under furniture and fixtures. Now I can come in here and I can still put it against Amazon, or I can remove that. And I can click on Update, Upsert Selected Records. Because I still have that internal ID here, it's going to go out, it's going to go find that internal ID, and then it's going to make an update to this journal entry. So we'll go back there in a second and we'll look at the Amazon, which was somewhere like maybe row 20 or so. Let's come down and find Amazon. Okay, so here we had this as miscellaneous before. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. And now you can see that was reclassified to the furniture and fixtures GL account. So because you're using Excel, you can do everything really, really fast. And if you actually have proper permissions, you can delete a journal entry too. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I had already done this, it's a duplicate, etc. I can come in here, I can click on delete, delete selected records, and this will go out to NetSuite and it will delete the entire journal entry. So let's flip back over to NetSuite. So now if I go to refresh this journal entry, you can see the record does not exist because it's been deleted. So that's a quick demonstration on how to import your credit card transactions as a journal entry. And depending on your volume, you could save hundreds of hours every single year on just this process alone. Now, our customers use journal entries for a number of other things. They use our application to help speed up their month-end close process by doing inventory adjustments. They use it to create vendor bills. So in short, our application can help you close your books faster. It can help you work faster inside of NetSuite. Reach out to our team if there's any questions, if you have any concerns. We're here to help. Thanks so much.